When Foxy Brown comes to town, all the brothers gather round, 'cause she can really shake 'em down. Pam Grier, that one chick hit squad who creamed you as coffee, is back to do a job on the mob as Foxy Brown.
You tell me who you want done, and I'll do the hell out of him.
A chick with drive who don't take no jive.
That woman, she's crazy. There's no telling what she'll do.
She's sweet brown sugar with a touch of spice.
If you see a man anywhere, send him in, because I do need a man.
And murder if you don't treat her nice.
Sounds like a public menace.
Sure do.
Foxy's got guts. No ifs, ands, or buts.
I better warn you, I got a black belt in karate. And I got my black belt in bar stools.
I am from beyond. Listen, and all you desire will be yours. Welcome to Spider-Dan and the Secret Balls. Prepare for Prattle.
Choose a side in the Clone Wars.
Welcome to Prattle World. I am your host, the ever-amazing, ever-spectacular Spider-Dan. And in this podcast, I spotlight entertainment's best-kept secrets that a mainstream audience may find boring. And welcome to Clone Wars, where two similar pieces of media clash to be crowned champion. Two go in, and only one comes out. And today, we are finally talking Blaxploitation, a groundbreaking genre in many ways, as progressive as it is problematic in some aspects, but we will get into that. And we're talking and celebrating the queen of Blaxploitation. We're talking about Pam Grier, a titan of cinema. And I can only talk about Pam Grier, this titan, with two other titans of the podcasting world. Ria Carrogan, who's been on the show before with our Slither podcast, and a new, and probably in the future will probably end up becoming a co-host at this rate, because she's already on two podcasts upcoming that we've already arranged, and Ria is also coming back for one of them. So it is Tonya Todd. Finally, we meet.
Yes, meow. Thank you for having me.
Hey. Oh, Ria. And Ria is here as well. And I love you guys. I love your podcast. I think you make a terrific comedy duo, I think, on all these podcasts.
It's unintentional.
Yeah. I mean, I would say Tonya's definitely the straight woman, and I am I would say I'm the classic ditzy best friend is what I would go for.
But you balance each other out perfectly.
And we have each other's backs.
And I've seen it in other podcasts. You don't take any shit from any of the hosts. And if I say something untoward, I'm ready for it. You have a go at me if you need to. I absolutely loved you. I loved you guys. You and Megan tearing into Mike that one time about feminism was one of my favorite podcasts of all time. So
I've heard that a lot.
Yes.
I think I just like seeing Mike bullied. I think that's what it is.
Oh, he's so sweet.
No, I'm kidding.
He handled it so well.
I know
he
did.
He did.
I wanted to do a joke today. So obviously we've got Ms. Marvel and Kenobi out at the same time, and both are on Comics in Motion. And today Kenobi got published because Comics in Motion just one a day. So Ms. Marvel's not coming out till Sunday. Exclusive, Tonya, because Tonya is on it and is amazing on it, of course. So I made a joke to our lovely friend Tony Farina about it, saying classic white man media gets put before anything to do about a a brown Muslim woman. And obviously funny. Saying it as an absolute joke, but also, it's true.
It's funny because people are not like that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why it's funny, right? Tony was like, oh, you should say it. And I was like, I can't, because poor Mike is possibly the loveliest person on earth. And he'd be like, oh, I'm so sorry. And he would apologize. And I don't want that. It's
he would
fine.
have gladly stepped aside too.
I know, and it's like, and I just I can't do it. He's too precious. As much as I like to tease him, and he teases us all back, he's too precious. We can't do that to Mike.
And we don't want someone misconstruing and
exactly.
No,
exactly.
We can tease him in house, but he doesn't deserve any real viciousness.
Absolutely not.
I mean,
Absolutely
nobody really does in this whole network. They are all precious, and we should keep them all special.
I'm glad you said in this network because
yeah.
in this just in this podcast.
Yeah,
this
just
one,
us three.
Just us three. We's are the titans.
Yeah.
We're the titans.
Oh, I can't agree with that because there are too many wonderful people in comics.
It's true. I know.
Okay. Well, whatever you bring.
Sorry, Dan.
Whatever you bring.
Sorry
for paying you lots of compliments. Whatever you bring to the Comics in Motion family, which is an amazing family, go subscribe, anyone that's connected or peripherally linked to Comics in Motion, including myself, are amazing. So do that. But we are here again to talk Blaxploitation, and we're celebrating two of the earliest Pam Grier films, which are her breakout films and were very popular and kind of shifting what Blaxploitation was at that time as well. So we're going to be looking at Coffy, and we're also going to be looking at Foxy Brown. Before we start, what do you feel about the Blaxploitation genre? What are your feelings about it in general, and also Pam as a star, as a person for change and changing the kind of face of cinema and feminism and the representation of Black women during the 70s?
Wow, that was a lot, but it's all there, isn't it? It's all part of it.
You would think it's they're very short films, only an hour and a half, but the amount of context and subtext and everything that's in there it's incredible.
They were the right length because it left no room for fluff. It was just, you have to do this, you move to this, you get to this part of the film, and then boom, we're done. There's no, oh man, we're just sitting here waiting for something to happen. Something was always happening. And I appreciated that we have so many women in these films. Both of those films had tons of women in them. It wasn't just a man's film starring this one woman and we're saying, see, we're feminists because we have one woman. And back then, a lot of times that kind of thing happened. It's like, look at this one female that we are elevating. Us, we are feminists. Like, no, I mean, it's a start. It is a start. And you don't want to push it aside because there were so many who weren't even doing that. And then you take the separate, the intersection of Black media, which again, that's a totally different kind of minority because women were definitely minorities back then when it came to, I mean, they still are, but at the time, even more so in terms of the power that they had in making films, choosing films, writing films, being behind the camera and in front of the camera, having the types of roles that empower you and give you agency, not just playing someone's love interest. And that is not what she was she was not just someone's love interest. She was an out and out powerhouse star who was kicking ass, literally taking names and making things happen on her own. And so I love the empowerment part of it, the exploitation part of it. I mean, it's in the name. It's in the name. And it seems like, all right, the only way to make this happen and push anything forward is to exploit these things that make people fetishize us, So I think that they embraced it, took that power back. Do I love watching it? Some of it is cringeworthy. Some of it is like, oh, wow, they're doing this, all the chocolate jokes, it's just, some of it is just gross, but I understand why it needed to be done. And I don't fault them their choices at all. Sorry, Ria, I took the rant this time. Go ahead.
I have no idea why you're apologizing because, Dan, that's the podcast done. I don't think we can top anything of what Tonya just said.
That was incredible. Really, really, again, it was quite a loaded question, but you've answered that brilliantly. But I'd still like an answer from you, Ria, because you are a big part of this as well.
I just want to listen to Tonya talk some more. Okay, so let me, I've completely gone from the question as well, because I'm just, what a wonderful, insightful thing you just said. So my experience of the genre is, I'm about to say, classic white movie film fan, Quentin Tarantino. For most of us, he is our introduction to it because we watch white man films and go, oh yeah, he's cool, he must like cool things. But I knew of Pam Grier before Jackie Brown, before he started talking about her as being a thing, because she is just such a powerhouse of an actress and of a woman. And I do actually think, so I've been thinking really hard about this, when I first watched Foxy Brown, because I thought it was fairly recently, and I say that like within the last 10 years, then I realised I've been with my other half for 10 years and I've not watched it since I've been with him. So obviously watched it quite a long time ago and remember having fond memories of it, but also thinking, there's a lot of boobs in this. I remember thinking that, but also obviously just being like, Pam Grier is just absolutely sensational in everything that she does in that film. And I was pleased to watch it this time round and feel the exact same way about her. In fact, I feel even stronger about her performance and what she's doing with the role. The genre is not for me. And I mean that as in because I am a white woman and it's not made for me. And I 100% appreciate that. I am not one of these people who will go and say, oh, this film is about Black gay men, so it's not for me. It's you sit and you watch it and you learn, you read, you research afterwards, you understand more about it, why it was made, how it was made, why these decisions were made. And that's been one of the most interesting things for me about watching them now, being an intersectional feminist as I am now, which I wouldn't have been when I first watched it. I would have just called myself a feminist. And I'm both blown away, mostly by Foxy Brown. I do not think highly of Coffy. Spoilers.
Giving the game away already.
I know. At what, well, but it is about both of them because, they are a pair at what these two films are trying to do. And I think I can see why they're held in such esteem.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think I'm the same. I think I feel like, obviously, yeah, as a white straight male, obviously this was part of a movement in so many ways. So many things were changing in the 70s for all sorts of people, for the sexuality of women, for the women's movement, for the Black movement as well. I think there's a lot of those elements that filter through into these kind of entertaining films. And again, like we said, there is problematic things about the idea of exploiting these themes and trends of stuff that was going on in society. But it was one of the first times that Black creators got to have their say and got on screen and were shown, being in loving relationships and stuff and having sex. These things weren't normalized back then. So it's incredible that we got there. Yes, maybe some of the exploitative elements to get there and to show these type of things was problematic. And again, with Blaxploitation, a lot of the money was made by white people. It did not go to Black people. But, we got people like Richard Roundtree and all the different stars that come out. And Pam as well is a huge star in the Blaxploitation scene. Fred Williamson, all amazing actors, still working to this day, most of them as well, I think. And the music as well. A lot of the Motown music was filtering through into the soundtracks as well. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about those because I think the soundtracks are fantastic in both films. But yeah, I think it was an important thing. But I like to look at problematic films because I think we need to contextualize how far we've come in society and how much things have changed. And yes, there is uncomfortable stuff in these films, and again we'll go into it, but it's always interesting to see, like, contextually where we are in history. I always like looking at comic books and seeing, what are they trying to say here? Why is the Captain America villain in this comic Richard Nixon? What are they saying in the 70s? I love that, and I love the idea of kind of piecing that together. And I think through entertainment, I've learned a lot more about history and the class system, social struggles, you name it. And I think it's a movement that had to happen, and it did happen. Again, it's not perfect, but what movement is, how is it handled? It always depends. And I think different people are trying to do different things. And obviously here we do have a white director, a white writer, but I think what he was trying to do was spin the idea of this on its head. But before we get too deep into all this, we do have to compare them. So I do have some reasons for comparison. So I'll just list those very quickly. So both films star Pam Grier in the title role. Both were written and directed by Jack Hill. Both star Sid Haig, who would reunite with Pam years later in Jackie Brown. Both were produced by American International Pictures. Both were released 11 months apart. Not even a year. That's how popular Coffy was. Both lead characters go undercover as sex workers, and Foxy Brown was intended to be a sequel to Coffy called Burn, Coffy Burn. So do we want to start talking about Coffy? Shall we go for it?
I would like to know why Ria preferred Foxy Brown.
Ooh,
okay.
Ooh, can we go straight into that?
Still? Sure. Go for it.
I think for me, overall, it is a better film. I feel the script is stronger. I feel Pam Grier's performance is just absolutely out of this world. I could watch her acting in the way that she acts in this film in literally everything. Put her as Foxy Brown in any film, genuine. Put in Star Wars, like, please, that would be amazing. I think there's something about her in this film where I just think I couldn't take my eyes off her, and not because she is the most incredibly beautiful woman in this film, but her performance just was mesmerizing for me. I also felt, for me, it was a bit less exploitative in terms of her. I felt like her character was a bit more powerful, although I love the interpretations of her character in both films. I don't know if interpretation is the right word. I just enjoyed it more. I just enjoyed it a lot more. I had more fun watching it. I sat and didn't find myself being as distracted as I was with Coffy. And I just I felt... I'm not trying to choose my words carefully. I'm trying to think of my words, if that's what you think that sigh is. I felt that the issues in Foxy Brown, even though, because I looked up as well, and I was like, these feel really filmed at the same time and came out at the same time, and saw that it was the 11 months between them. I felt that the issues that were being talked about in Foxy Brown feel more relevant and felt more on the nose in a good way. I don't know if I've expressed all that right, but we'll come into it when we're talking about it. My brain is so frazzled.
We will, but I in some ways I agree with you in some ways, but I've not obviously, I never come into this with a decision. We've got categories we're gonna base the comparison on, as per usual. I know you guys haven't done one of these before, but I'll lead the way.
I've listened to them, so I know what's happening.
Well, I appreciate that, Ria, because some of my guests never listen. I'm looking at you, Dennis. I'm looking at you.
Want to listen?
Exactly. Dennis only listens to the ones he's on. That's the thing. He's a prima donna. So anyway, I love you, Dennis, but we know who you are. So yeah, let's talk about Coffy and kind of the plot. So Tonya, could you tell us, even though the films are basically the same film, I'd like you to tell me the plot of Coffy. So I'll let you paint that picture of the story of the film.
Oh, don't do that to me.
Too much pressure. Would you like me to? Well, I can do it, or Ria can do it.
Yeah, everyone here is here to hear your voice, not ours.
Oh no!
It's your show.
No. They're here for you guys, not for me.
I'm bonus.
I am merely the facilitator. That's all.
Facilitate us with the plot.
Okay, cool. So Coffy is I realized this while watching the film. Her name is not actually Coffy. That's like her nickname. It's Coffin is her name, which I don't know if that might have been a cooler title, maybe. Coffin. Obviously, you
don't get the reference to the color of her skin.
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
Of course. Yeah, that's the point.
Coffin
but yes,
is a cooler nickname, but Coffy is a sexier one.
True. That's right.
Coffee tastes better than coffins. Trust me.
Do you think? You know that saying, which is very inappropriate, but I like my women like I like my coffee. Do you think that comes from this, or is that an older phrase?
That predates that.
Okay. Anyway, so Coffy is a nurse at a local hospital, but we don't know that at the start of the film. We just see her in the back of a car, and she's pretending to be on drugs. And these two predatory men are like, do what you want with her. And he goes, I'll just watch and get high.
That was such a funny line.
I was like, what lovely characters we have in this film. But obviously that comes to the point, and we learn that Coffy is pretending as we hear the title song. We see the credits roll. They're not very interesting, the credits, but the song is very nice. And then we have that bombastic scene where she reveals herself to not be what they believe it, and she's got a line where he didn't know it was coming, and that's why he wasn't scared, or he didn't really truly believe it, but you better believe it's coming. And then she blows the first guy's head off with a sawn-off shotgun, which is very graphic for the time as well.
Yeah, it was very cool.
I loved it. I was like,
I love that opening.
Even I was like, oh. And then she gets the guy to make himself overdose. And then we're kind of off to the races, and we learn that Coffy's sister, 11-year-old sister, is now a heroin addict basically, and is in a kind of a treatment center. And Coffy is trying to work her day job as a nurse, or night job as a nurse, and while still hunting down the dope pushers, as she puts it, and to get her revenge. So that is the plot. But how did we feel about Coffy? Is there anything that you kind of picked out of Coffy that you like?
The movie or the character?
Bit of both.
So the character I was on board with the moment she pulled out that shotgun. It was like, yes, this is my hero. Let's go. I'm here for entire ride. Now that I know this is your ploy, like I was holding out, hoping, like, please let this be fake. Please let her not be a drug addict. Please let her just be using their weaknesses to further whatever reason she has to get vengeance. I am here for it. And she did not disappoint. So I loved her. I loved the conflict of her character because, she's a nurse. You're supposed to be saving lives. You could see that it was troubling her that she's doing this thing that is hurting others when she's supposed to be saving lives, to the point where she almost confesses to a cop, like, what are you doing? Don't talk about it. But it's because she's conflicted. I loved that element of it because they didn't point to it. They didn't give her some stupid line where she says, what are we, a suicide squad? Nothing so stupid as that, where she had to actually say what she was thinking. It was clear. And I liked her reasons for doing it. I don't think it's a typical thing. That reason isn't always played on screen. So I liked that element. And what I really liked is she did not need anybody else in this film to achieve her goals, which was different from Foxy Brown, where she needed help. I loved that everything that she accomplished, she did by herself. Anyone she thought she could count on fell through. All of her success was her own. And that is something I loved about this one in comparison with the other. It doesn't mean that it had all the better elements, but of that, her agency and her power was better in this one.
Cool. Ria, what did you think of Coffy as a character as well?
Yeah, absolutely the same. Absolutely loved her. I loved how we see the conflict, exactly what Tonya said. We have this amazing opening. Like, the opening of this film is just so brilliant, and you can feel it coming. You're just like, yeah, she's gonna, you just know. I mean, because obviously I read the synopsis, so also knew, but like, it's just done so well that you just know. And then she gets out the gun and boom. And then I love the death of the other guy, forces him to have an overdose, because why not? Why shouldn't he suffer in all of the ways that he's made other people suffer? And then you see her go back to her job as a nurse, and she can't perform her job. And it's quite, I felt taken aback in a good way, because you've seen her be this absolute powerhouse and really like go, she's into the role. She's acting as this drug addict, and then she is so badass. And then you see that it has an impact on her. And we imagine, right, she's a nurse, that's vocational, that she loves that job. That job's really important to her. But this vengeance, it's taking over her life, and it's affecting this job, which is vocational for her. And I just think that whole beginning was just done so incredibly well. I really like her relationship with the people around her. So I love her friend, the police officer Carter, and I loved the dynamic between them. You know, she has him as a friend, but it's exactly what Tonya said. You know, everything's her own motivation. She doesn't get him on board to help her. He obviously, I'm assuming we're allowed to talk spoilers, right? He gets killed. Yeah,
spoilers.
Yeah.
Spoilers. Yes, we're talking about the film. We've not gone further than the opening, really. But, yes.
Yes. I was about to talk about things wider, but then further on in the film, we see that she still has her caring nature. She's taking care of other women. I mean, she's also kicking the butts of other women, which is awesome. But you know, we see that when she sees that somebody's vulnerable from these people, that she wants to take care of them and she wants to save them because you know she wants to save her sister and everything happened to her sister. And I think she's really complex. I think for a short film in the genre that it is, with a rare Black female lead, to see them be so complex is just, you know, it's quite mind-blowing, really.
And the brilliance of her plan at the beginning. Not only did she take them out, he set up the one to look like he was to blame.
I know. So good.
I love the exact stuff I like about Coffy is the stuff you've mentioned. I love vengeance as a kind of concept in film and storytelling. That's one of the big main, storytelling kind of, those kind of framing devices or what have you. I love that. And I also love seeing the conflict of because I'm not a violent person. I'm somewhat of a pacifist. It's not something I enjoy in real life. On film, obviously, I get quite a lot of kick out of it, but I know it's fake, obviously. And I always love seeing that conflict. And I also love, again, if I'm watching a character get their vengeance, the villains cannot be relatable in any way. And as we see in that first opening scene, they're going to molest and do whatever to her. They're going to fill her full of drugs. These are not nice guys. You're not going, oh, these guys are okay. And I think at this time, in the blaxploitation genre, like these drug dealers and pimps were kind of more idolized. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what this script and what Jack Hill and Pam, because Pam Grier had a lot of input in the script. She based the character on her mother, who was a nurse. So it was a huge, huge kind of personal project for her and Jack. And he discovered her and was like, "You're going to be a star. You are going to be a star."
I love that element that they were so anti-drug about it when, drugs were something that were celebrated at the time. I loved that they took that stand. And every time it seemed like they were going to pull back, it's like, no, across the board, this is the message of this film. Even if you don't agree with the message, they stuck to it. I appreciate that they didn't waver once they made their stand.
Yeah, I think again, it's flipping the script on what these films could be. And what they should be, and how they're represented, and how people are represented, women are represented, people of color. Like Jack Hill, again, he's a white guy, but I feel like he came from a music background, so he was interacting in a world where Black people and white people would mix a bit more often. And I think his experience there and the lifestyle and the people he knew kind of fed into the creation with Pam of this script. And I love so many elements of it. I think the stunts are great, and that's the thing with Pam as well. Like when she was a child, her grandfather raised her, and he said, "You've got to be just as good as all the lads at all this stuff." They worked on a farm, I think, somewhere, and he was like, "Right, you got to do this, you got to do that." She knew martial arts. She's done her own stunts. She can drive. She can shoot. She knew all this stuff before even coming on. So. And Quentin Tarantino says there is no white equivalent at the time for Pam Grier. Fred Williamson was like the Black Charles Bronson, sorry. And Pam is so unique and so powerful that she never had an equivalent. Arguably the first female action hero.
Yeah, definitely.
Before your Sarah Connors, Linda Hamiltons, before your Sigourney Weavers. And she was there, like on the cutting edge of action filmmaking.
And what I love about her being an action hero as well, because I 100% think she is. You can't watch either of these films and not think that she isn't. Is right. That they don't strip away her femininity. They don't strip away who she is. She's allowed to be beautiful as well as tough, like physically tough. We always talk about strong, powerful women and people automatically go to Sarah Connor. Well, it's not always about being physically tough, although, Pam Grier isn't this. She's also, mentally hardening herself. She's also got absolute resolve. She believes this is wrong. What they are doing is wrong, and she will not be wavered from that. That is a strong, powerful woman. But she is also allowed to celebrate her body, celebrate her sexuality. I mean, I know we're talking about Coffy specifically here, but one of the things I absolutely loved about both of these films were the sex scenes. I do feel like they went, oh God, she's beautiful. We do need to see her naked a lot, which is fair. And if she
used it as a power, she
used it as power. And if she's also as an actress, if she's comfortable with it, and if it's giving her opportunities and she's making proactive decisions, too fucking right. But the sex scenes are real, but they also, she's powerful in the sex scenes. She is an equal in the sex scenes with her boyfriends and with her lovers. Obviously in some of the films a bit later on, it's in Foxy Brown, she is raped and sexually assaulted, and she is obviously not powerful in those. But the ones in the sex scenes where she's actively participating, she's doing exactly what I said, actively participating. We're seeing a Black woman be powerful in a Black couple dynamic. And I think that's just amazing.
She's infiltrating the different organizations. She reminded me of Catwoman in those scenes because, sure, Catwoman is wearing outfits that are very slinky and sexual and eye-grabbing. That's part of her ploy. That is because men respond in such a way that they can't focus properly on what they should be doing. So I'm going to use all of my assets so that I can achieve my goal. And that's what she did. If I wear this low-cut thing, they're going to be too busy looking here to pay attention to the fact that I'm smarter than they are. Yeah. They are never going to suspect my brain because their noses are going to be too far in my cleavage.
Yep.
Oh, that's imagery. That's definitely imagery.
Why did I invite her?
No. I'm very much enjoying the imagery. I think I love the brutality of Coffy more than Foxy Brown as well, because I think it's a slightly darker film. I think Ria is right. This Foxy Brown is more fun, it's more colourful, it's more fashionable for the time. And I think Pam had her own dresser on that particular film because she was...
Yeah, it's more polished. There's definitely more money involved.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I think so as well.
The images look better. The outfits look better. Her hair looks better. Like all of it. It's like Coffy set up the budget for that movie.
Yeah.
Well, the reason... so Coffy did really well because AIP had the opportunity to make another blaxploitation film called Cleopatra Jones, but they lost the opportunity, and I think they sold it to Warner Brothers, I think. So they were like, well, we want a Black heroine for our blaxploitation film, so let's rush it out, quick.
Yeah.
And actually, this made far more money than Cleopatra Jones. I think Cleopatra Jones, I've not seen it, but I hear it's quite, it's a defining film for the blaxploitation genre. But this one blew it out of the water in regards to box office. And I think that was due to Pam's star power. Has to be.
Right. I will agree that her acting was better in Foxy Brown, but she had already been playing that character for something. She's pretty much a very similar character. She probably had a lot more confidence after her success from the first film, and she had more control behind the scenes because there is a lot less nudity in that film. Whereas it seemed like a requirement. If you are a woman on this set, you must reveal your breasts. That's the requirement to work on Coffy. By Foxy Brown, that was not the case.
No, I did read that, I think I read this on the Wikipedia. She said that initially in those films, she did want to show a lot of her body because she was very proud of it, but also...
I would too. If I had that body, I'm sorry. We already know that I like being naked. If I had that body, I'd just be like, hello, everyone.
I didn't just mean her. I meant all of the other...
I know you did.
Yeah,
there were only 3 women, if I recall correctly, who did not show their breasts in Coffy. And it was kind of ridiculous because, oh, I tripped over a table and my breast fell out.
I know. The fight is all about them ripping each other's tops off. It annoyed me so much.
It is very much that classic stereotypical cat fight type thing, isn't it?
That fight was so dumb. I mean,
I hated that fight.
I sneezed and my top fell off. Every possible idiotic combination of events results in boobies. It was just so dumb.
If in doubt, show breasts. I think that's the exploitation motto. If in doubt, show breasts.
But I don't think that's blaxploitation. I think
no.
Yes.
Yes. It's sexploitation.
That's male gaze.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree.
Absolutely.
I agree.
The fight did annoy me for that and for pitting her against other women, because we can already see that in the room, she's the one that everybody's interested in, right? Mm-hmm. And I feel like...
To be fair, you saw the comparison, though. She was just absolutely stunning in comparison.
Yeah. I mean, her accent less so.
That was awful.
Yes.
Please let this be on purpose. Please let it be bad on purpose. Because how could it possibly really be that bad? Who is that off?
Is it like another Moon Knight and his accent?
It was much worse.
It's worse.
I agree. Her accent wasn't great, and I think she was the first one to say, "Yeah, it's not my best."
Yeah. She was Jason Statham in it. I can't make that work. But the fight scene did really annoy me because we already knew she had the power in that room, and that was done so well. And it was a fight scene just to pit women against each other and show some boobs. And I was just a bit I think it made her feel less powerful as a character for me personally. And I was just I just don't want to see chick fights. Yeah. Unless they're amazing, unless they're like equal footing, kung fuing each other, awesomeness.
Right. Kill Bill.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, yeah. I mean, Kill Bill, no doubt, was influenced by these films anyway. Especially some of the characters. Yeah, absolutely. I love the action. I think it is, well choreographed, but I do agree that it does have, those exploitation elements. I did quite like the idea of her hiding the razor blade.
I loved that. I did love that.
That was brilliant.
As somebody, I'm never going to compare my hair to a black person's hair because that's a ridiculous thing to do. But as somebody who has crazy hair, I was also like, for the future, if I'm ever going to get into any fights, I'll be storing them in my hair. Thank you very much.
And that's another thing Pam brought to the character, and Foxy Brown as well, was the hiding of weapons and stuff in her afro. And
that was brilliant because no white person is going to even consider that is where she's hiding a weapon.
Nope.
It was so believable. Yep. I mean, in the next film, doesn't she hide a gun?
Yeah,
that's a little.
She does. Yeah.
But you could hide something sharp. You could definitely do that without anyone noticing.
What did we think of King George, the very stereotypical pimp character in this?
So I was glad that they had Black people as good and bad. It wasn't like all white people are bad and all Black people are good, because that also isn't a believable film. Not like this is such a believable film. Right. Most nurses go undercover as prostitutes, infiltrate a ring, and kill everybody involved.
Such gritty realism.
Right. But I guess I like that they weren't trying to be anti anybody but drug dealers. They weren't being racist about it. They were just saying, hey, these people are sometimes involved. These people are sometimes involved. There is a power dynamic, and there are good and bad on both sides. And I appreciate that. And maybe that's because I'm biracial and I don't like seeing either side portrayed as evil all the time. It's like, it hurts me either way, But I appreciated that they had him, and he seemed really bad, and then you could kind of feel for him in the situation because he actually didn't screw anybody over in that scenario, and he was punished more than he needed to be.
That scene is brutal.
That was my least favorite scene. I hate watching that kind of thing on screen.
Yeah, it was even for me. I just yeah. Like, and again, I watch a lot of violent stuff and violent films, but even I was like,
it wasn't the violence of it; it was the
Yeah.
emotional trauma.
yeah,
So
If they had just stabbed him or even bled him to death, that wouldn't have been as challenging to watch as, oh, this is steeped in racist history.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
now you have the weight of all of that emotional trauma from centuries. It's not the violence; it's that part of
it's
it.
what it represents. Yeah, but
he's lynched, and
Yeah.
I know this is from the 70s, but I don't, watching it now,
And it
I
was
don't casually as if it was just okay to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think we need to see more Black people being lynched in our media. I think, obviously it's incredibly important to talk about these things. But I also think I don't think we need to see it anymore unless it's dealt with in a particular way,
Sure,
not just for violence.
No, I agree. I will say this about it though: it does make you want those bastards to.
Oh yeah,
die.
I'm so glad they get
like
fucking destroyed.
I just think there are a lot of other ways they could have handled that and still have the same result. It didn't
Absolutely.
have something seeped in that kind of history.
No, I totally agree, and I can totally see from that standpoint why it's uncomfortable, especially. What about the kind of love story in the film? What do we think of this?
He did it wrong, man. I mean, what a fucking rat. I'm so pleased she gets her revenge. He seems like a twat from the very beginning, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And then, that opening scene where he's in the club and the girl's dancing at him, he's like, oh yeah. And then he gets his long-term girlfriend to come along.
Right. This is where you invite her?
Right? Fuck off, dude.
And then I have no respect for women. These people that are dancing behind me.
And he can't go on holiday with her because he wants to be the senator. Yeah. Although the thing I loved about him was, and I say that in terms of what the film did with his character, was when he was filming his promotional piece. And I really like what the film did with that, because you don't know that he's specifically filming his promotional piece when they first start doing it. And then obviously film itself comes out of doing that and shows all the people around him. And, and I love what it's saying politically about his character, about people seeking power, especially when it turns out he's a arsehole who is exploiting everybody.
And the stuff he's saying is true.
Yeah.
But then you see that it's a performance. They integrated all of those layers into that one scene. And the end where he's just like, I think the take was a lot better that time. We're like, oh, this guy.
I know, it's so good.
Did it more than once.
Awful. What I really liked about his character was the emotional manipulation right in the finale with the character. Because she's been through it. She's been, beaten, kidnapped, tortured. She's escaped all the other kind of guys. They try to drug her, but it's only sugar because she's replaced the drugs with sugar.
Mm-hmm.
She escapes. And again, like we see, she flips that cop car over. She stabbed Sid Haig.
Right. And she did it all herself.
Absolutely. Just one woman, tour de force of violence and revenge. And then she kills the other guy. I love that the half blind guy gets absolutely destroyed as she drives the car directly into the house. I loved that moment. He was like, oh, he's coming down here a pace. I wonder why he's moving so fast. And he's like, let me just look out here. I'll show you my dodgy eye, and then straight through the whole house. And then she is just she's wielding a shotgun like you've never seen. Pow, pow, pow. And then she shoots the guy in the swimming pool. The guy, oh, he's disgusting as well. That guy, where he's like, he's fetishized her. Watching that fight, he's like, oh yeah, she's got something about her I like. Mm-hmm. And then she hides the gun in the bear. And then he's like, oh yeah, you crawl, and I'm going to spit on you and treat you.
Yeah. And
he calls her some horrible things, and then she turns the tables on him, and I love that moment where she just is like, oh, you want me to crawl? You crawl. You get down. I've got this. I've got the power in this situation. Unfortunately, she doesn't quite get it at that point. But then again, all the way back to the end, we learn that he's involved and he's trying to secure more power for his. He's like, she's like, how could you do this? How could you betray all the things you say? And I believed in what you said, all the stuff you said in front of the cameras, that you're gonna, help Black people, and we're gonna stop all this oppression.
And you're part of the problem. You're part of the problem instead of the solution.
Exactly. What about my sister? And obviously her cop friend, who's like kind of a previous boyfriend or friend, he gets killed because he won't take, a bribe. And that spurs her on even more for vengeance. And yeah, when he sits her down, he's like, oh, baby, where have you been? I didn't know they were going to kill you. It was just a thing. And she's like, don't worry, lover, they tried.
Yeah.
Not for lack of trying. They tried to kill me.
I love that line.
And she's like, I'm still in a dream and I don't know if anything's real, but I'm here for it. And he's like, oh, but we're doing this. I needed to get into the system, the white man's system, and do all this to make the changes. And I love that she's not like, oh, I'm just going to kill you, because Foxy Brown would just kill him, I think. that character would just kill him straight away. But this one, the Coffy's a bit more emotionally, she's had her
attached to him.
Absolutely, and she's had her head spun around with the vengeance and being a nurse and like do no harm unto others and Hippocratic oaths and stuff, and all of it, and it's working just until the woman walks out of his bedroom. And then and
you knew she was there. You did. Yeah. You saw the way he looked, like, oh, he's already with someone else. Like, ugh.
Like 5 minutes after she's potentially been killed. And then, if anyone was to call Pam a ballbuster, she certainly is at the end of this film.
Yes. And he got exactly what he deserved.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
So good.
Don't worry, we'll get to Foxy Brown, and the finale of that film is fairly similar in regards to penises being dismembered. But yeah, is there anything else you guys want to say about Coffy specifically? Anything about the character, the story, music, cinematography?
I think the music was better in Coffy.
Yeah, Coffy is the color.
I loved the literal music in Coffy. He's a man, he's her boyfriend. They have sex. Yeah. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, I see really what you're going for there. And it's King George.
Right.
King George. Do you think his name's King George?
King George. I think it's King George. I always remember King George, the actor who plays King George. What's his name? It is Robert Dupuy, I'm going to say. He's the police captain in RoboCop.
Oh.
So I always, when I see him here, I'm like, no, you're a police captain. What are you doing?
Why are you selling drugs?
Yeah. Because he's in like all three of the RoboCop movies. He's like one of the one people that just stay throughout the franchise, and I always really liked him as well. He's got good energy, and I always liked his performances. But yeah, here he was just like, I mean, it's the same actor, obviously, but yeah, it's a very different character he's playing. But yeah, anything else though? I did interrupt. No,
did you? Me?
I feel like I did. I feel like I stopped something. But yeah, right. Well, let's talk about Foxy Brown. So Ria, I've done one plot. Somebody else has to do a plot. I'm not doing another plot. It's the same. If
you want someone to do the plot, you have to let them prepare for it. You need to let them know before they're on your show.
No.
Throwing this at you. This is your job.
I mean, they're not the hardest plots. They're not the most complex films, are they?
I'll do this one. See previous movie.
There we go. Previous movie. Yes, it was supposed to be a sequel, this one. And again, it was a very quick turnaround. Jack Hill actually wasn't asked to come back to direct initially as well, because they'd had a falling out. AIP were known for being a bit shitty with directors. They didn't like directors. So they were going ahead. They signed Pam for like a 4-pitch deal. So they did Friday Foster and Sheba Baby as well, along with that deal. And they were like, they were looking for another director. And they were like, we're going to make the Coffy sequel. But again, they got Jack Hill on. He was like, I've written the script already. And they're like, okay, go, but it's not a sequel. We don't do sequels because they're not selling. So a new character. So yeah, he wrote it, and you can see some connective tissue. Like,
yes, definitely. I wondered for a moment when I first started watching. It was like, wait a minute, is she the same character because there are elements that felt similar, but she didn't have that softness that Coffy had.
I agree. Yeah, she didn't have the sensitivity or the kind of regret or the conflict. Also, early on, she spends a lot of time in hospital. In the previous film, she's a nurse, and also in the previous film, they said that Coffy's brother was a drug dealer, and in Foxy Brown, her brother is a drug dealer.
Yeah.
Played by Antonio Vargas of Starsky and Hutch fame, Huggy Bear. And so you can kind of sort of just see the sequel. It's never mentioned what her job is, because obviously, Coffy was a nurse, so they were like, oh, we don't want to come up with a new job for her. Let's just...
Right. That's where I felt some of this story was weaker, because it was just like, you don't care about the actual story. You just want to watch her kick ass. So she has no backstory. We'll just carry over elements into this one. She wasn't as well-rounded a character in this.
No, I would agree. It's very much, I don't want to say it's a one-note character, but it is a bit more like, right, I want this, I've got this, I've got to do this.
Right, yeah, she wasn't one note, but so this had a bigger budget. They definitely had better cameras and lighting, and they had better makeup and clothing. Like, all the wardrobe was better. It was flashier. But you could see that the script was rushed. The story itself didn't feel like it was as fleshed out. It was just like, it doesn't have to be good. It just needs to be fast. Whereas the other story, I felt like they took more time to develop an entire plot. Now, some of the plot was silly, but it was intentionally silly. Where here it was just like, I don't know, just do something. It felt like that. We have to get this finished because everybody's hot about this success. We need to put this out now. We don't have time to make it better. We just need to get it done.
Yes, exactly. And since
I've been on sets like that, I know.
Doesn't have to be flashy. It doesn't have to be good. Just get it done. It done.
We have this location today. Get it done.
Get your lines right.
One take.
It's almost never the actor that is causing that kind of stress, or we are running out of daylight.
I've been there. My God, so many hard days. But it felt a bit more like we're moving from set piece to set piece to set piece in this one. Like, it's like, oh, this scene now and this scene now and this scene now.
Right.
It wasn't as much of a kind of an emotional through line, I'd say, as maybe in Coffy.
And if you hadn't seen the previous one, you may not have understood, like, oh, okay, we're doing this now. It's treated like, the drill.
Yeah.
Well, so do you want to know what order I watched them in? So I watched Foxy Brown first, then Coffy, and then watched Foxy Brown again. Because I was like, right, it's like a sequel.
Because I think my reason for preferring Coffy was because I saw it first. Like, to be able to weigh back both, I think I would have been more partial to Foxy if I had seen it first, because that's where I learned the storyline.
That's interesting, because I first watched Foxy first and then Coffy. So it's interesting to see, like, again, they are very similar. Like,
and where you're saying Foxy is rushed, I kind of like that. I like that it's bam, bam, bam. This is the story that we're telling. She's seeking revenge. This happened. The boyfriend doesn't hang around for ages. Fine, let's get rid of him. Women are fridged all the time. Let's fridge him. Let's get rid of him.
Totally did.
Right? I want to see her. I want to see her getting revenge. I want to see how she does it. I want to see the clever ways that she comes up with it.
They had a healthy female friendship in this one too.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, female friendship in this one. Fantastic. I like that she like her brother. She's just like, actually just fuck off. You're at the beginning, she's like, you're a terrible person. And then of course it's even worse that he betrays her. And then at the end, I like that she brings in the Black Panthers. I completely agree with you. I do think her story of doing it all by herself is stronger in Coffy. I actually completely agree with that. And I do think it makes Coffy a better character overall. But I like that she brings in other people, but still does her bit. She's like, I'm done with this shit. You deal with that shit. I've got this very singular agenda that I'm going to do. And so I need you to take care of everything else. So like, so I can do this bit. And, I think listening to you both talk, I think you are actually right about Coffy. I do probably think it was written a bit better. She's probably a better, well-rounded character. But there's just something about this. I was like, yes, we're just fucking cracking on with it. And she is just taking these shits down. And I was like fully on, watched it twice, both times, 100% on board. I was like, yeah.
But weren't you disappointed in the ending?
No.
Because she didn't get full vengeance. I feel like that woman deserved a lot more pain than she received.
I mean, she's that woman, Catherine, is that right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, is, and I don't like to say this about people because I think we treat mental health very poorly, is a full-on fucking nut job. And I think the torture of getting her boyfriend's penis in a box is going to send her completely nuts. And I think that is a fitting vengeance for her, because she now has to live with that, as Foxy herself expresses. She has to live with that.
And I think she deserved more. She deserved the
yes.
jealous.
Tonya wants
yes. I wanted her to have the rose petals leading up to their bedroom and the romantic music playing, only to find it in their bed, What's in the bag,
But you just made me think about Giles in Buffy then. So.
Right, I said she deserved the Angelus treatment.
Wow. That is, Tonya, you're bloodthirsty.
Don't cross me.
Yeah, I love it, yeah.
Don't
never mess with her.
I wouldn't want to cross either of you, I'll be honest. I think between the two of you would have, if I had wronged you in some way, you would have some sweet vengeance.
Like with spoilers?
Oh God! I'm sorry.
Not that I'm keeping track or anything.
No, I've definitely spoiled the most things, but I'm learning. I'm getting better.
You've made the most effort not to. Other than Mike, he is wonderful.
Yeah,
not only is he good about not spoiling things for me, if he catches somebody else doing it, he will warn me outside of the group. Don't look at this. And then I'll come back and see his message where he told someone else, this is a spoiler. And then you'll see that there's a spoiler box that has been edited into it. So
I discovered on the Discord that you can, spoiler the images, do the spoiler thing. Yes. That was me. I discovered that. So, I've made the effort.
Yeah, why? Why did you discover that?
Because I was sweating and I was worried and I was anxiety ridden. I genuinely did feel bad. I was like, shit. I actually caught Mike the other day for the Love and Thunder trailer for Thor. He was referencing something on that trailer, and I went, technically that's a spoiler.
Thank you.
and then he removed it as well. So I'm also part of the spoiler. I'm on the spoiler police.
I'm keeping track, but I'm keeping track of your efforts too.
If you don't know, guys, we are on a Comics in Motion Discord chat, so we're all kind of chatting away. So
we just had an incestuous chat there, didn't we? They were just referencing everything.
Yeah.
Cut that out. No, I'll keep that in. I will say that Blaxploitation is quite progressive. It is a little the opposite. It's problematic when it comes to the representation of a lot of lesbian characters in these films.
But at least there was lesbian representation in both of the films.
Yeah, actually, there was two. There was a lesbian bar, a whole bar of lesbians. Well, we assume they're all lesbians. And
why would you make that assumption?
Is it because some of them have short hair, Dan?
I mean,
Ria has short hair. Is she a lesbian?
Oh God,
Do you know what? I used to have a pixie.
I know what Mike was feeling now.
And the amount of
something wrong.
I used to have a pixie haircut, and the amount of men who just say, "Oh, you're a lesbian. You just need a good dick to turn you." And I feel like, first of all, I'm not even gonna. Funny enough, I've got no interest, but you don't even want to know about what I'm interested in. Like, you could not fucking handle it. So,
the Oscar Isaac discussion.
We're back. But I think you're right. Yeah. Again, the back at that time, there wouldn't have been a lot of. I remember Kevin Smith talked about his brother who is gay, and his gay brother is always going, I just want a little scene of gay content in a mainstream film, like just a little thing, like not like a whole storyline or anything, but just some representation. Yeah. And again, this was kind of breaking ground, even if it is, exploitative in some ways. It was making changes and progressing in a sense, in a way. So again,
efforts to include lesbianism. And it was actually kind of clever in the first one where she's like, wait till my old man gets back. You don't want to see her,
I love that. I love that.
Pissed. And I was like, all right.
I love. Again, like the intelligence of the character, Pam Grier's power as well. Like, again, it's not just her physicality. She can do the physical stuff, as you've said, but it is her raw ingenuity, her power, her intelligence that pulls her through these situations.
She just happens to be hot. And I do like what she said about showing her body in the first film. Is maybe if I'm naked enough, it won't be a big deal. Like, guys won't get all stupid about it. It'll just be a naked body. Yeah. Can we move on now?
Exactly. So that was her point. It was like, here I am. I want you to get bored of this body. It's great, but I want you to get bored of it. If you've seen it that much, you're like, oh, there's no mystery, there's no mystique, if you will. I
understood that reference.
I understood that reference.
I did like the other sex worker who went, Miss Stick. Like, what kind of name is that? Yeah. Anyway, back to Foxy Brown. So again, we've kind of gone on our own little tangent, but the main crux of Foxy Brown is she has a boyfriend who was an undercover cop who is having plastic surgery to look like somebody else, and she's very happy with the results of the plastic surgery.
Almost too happy.
But I love that so much. I love that she's really open. She goes, "What if I don't like what I see when the bandages come off?" Which is so searingly honest. I was just like, oh, wow, okay, because if you'd be like, I love you no matter what is under those bandages. She's like, fuck no. And then when they come off, she is like, let's get home. We are shagging.
Right. I thought she was too enthusiastic there. Yeah. It's like, you look even better.
I'm sure there's a bit as well where she pulls the sheet back and is like, well, as long as this still works as well.
Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah. And then I think as well, Foxy Brown has a lot more comedy in it. Like, it's a bit more exaggerated. It's lighter, and obviously you've got the nurse coming in for the sponge bath.
She was great. When she smacked him, none of that. Bam. I love that.
Oh dear, yeah. But there was definitely a lot more kind of. It was more like Ria was saying. It's a lot more fun. But I do like a good vengeance film that makes me question vengeance as well. But this was a bit more.
Why would you question vengeance?
Well, there you go. Good question. That's another podcast in itself. But we learned that the opening scene's quite cool because Antonio Vargas is trying to hide out from the cops, not the cops, the people he's working for, and the kind of call girls drug ring thing that's going on, led by Catherine.
I think it was a loan shark situation, wasn't it, or was it just he owed them drug money?
I think so. I think it was something
definitely
to do with
money involved because he was hoping that the $20,000 for revealing the location of the boyfriend.
Yeah.
I love that none of us can remember the boyfriend's name, and I think that's brilliant.
Michael.
How often does that happen to a woman in films?
Michael, I remembered.
Oh,
there you go.
Ruin my point.
And Pam amazingly comes to his rescue and just literally drives down the sidewalk. Amazing. And then she turns into a guy while she's behind the wheel of the car for some reason. Who could that be? Who knows? It's not her stunt double.
No.
No. But yeah, runs, doesn't kill the guys, runs him over, saves her brother, even though he's a scumbag, protects him. And that's one of the emotional cores I did like about this, is that even though he has been instrumental in getting Michael killed, her boyfriend killed, she still gives him the opportunity to leave town, and he doesn't take it.
Yeah, he's such an idiot.
He is.
Like, as vengeance hungry as she is, it's still her brother.
Still her brother, though.
Yeah, but I love that. I like that. I think that's a really nice thing. And again, she's just like, and she's trying to almost scare him. Like, I'm going to come back for you, but actually, the dynamite is up your ass and the fuse is going. I think it was that. Love that. And then the girlfriend's like, "Who was that?" And it was like, "That's my sister. She's a whole lot of woman."
Yeah.
I did not like the way he kept calling his sister baby. Like, ew.
Yeah.
I would punch my brother if he called me baby. Yeah. And now I have to hope he does not listen to this because now
he's going to do it, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's going to start doing it. Hey, baby. It's all icky. It's all icky.
I really hate adults being called baby anyway. I hate people like, hey, baby, hey, babe. I don't like it. We're not babies. We're adults. And why are you trying to make us like babies? I don't like it. Personal choice. You can do it if you want to.
What are you called?
What do I call Kevin? I call him Kevin. I call him darling. That's about it. But I
like the way you say darling.
I just baby. Babies are little human beings. Let's maybe not.
I don't like it either, but I had a conversation recently with some ladies about what terms of endearment we do like and what we aren't called. And now you just have me curious. What does he call you?
Just Ria, I think. I think he does have something that he calls me.
How do you not know?
Because I'm really tired, Tonya. It's half an hour past my bedtime, and it has been a couple of weeks, right? So it's a miracle I know my own name or what it is.
I was in a relationship with someone, and for some reason, our terms of endearment for each other was the C word.
Nice.
It's like
Never works.
I was like, oh, cunt. And she'd be the same. She's like, oh, you're such a cunt. And it was, in a weird way, in a twisted way, it was quite sweet, in a very twisted way. Anyway, another tangent.
Darling, I think we just both go for darling. But darling became a thing for Kevin because when MJ first started understanding people's names, she thought Kevin was called Daddy Darling because I always called him Darling.
Oh, I love that.
So that's why.
Darling.
That's really stuck. So she always thought she was MJ Sweet.
101 Dalmatians yet?
Oh, she has actually, yeah. But I don't think she's picked up on it. So I should actually do that and be like, the darlings.
Because we bring this back to a Disney conversation again.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. All of the Disney discussions, all of them.
If we want to make another connection, I don't know if you read in the trivia that Pam Grier said the love of her life was Freddie Prinze. So she could have been Freddie Prinze Jr.'s mother because they were in such a passionate relationship, but she couldn't deal with the drug use.
Yeah.
And then she could have been part of the conversation with the Buffy universe and the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
Love it.
I will say, like, looking up Pam's love life is horrific. Like, it's a really horrific, like, from one horrible relationship to another, and the kind of stuff she's been through. I won't go into it now because it's too long a story. But if you look into it, read her memoirs, she's been through the ringer. Like, she really has, and to have this level of success and fame, you know, it's incredible. But she is an incredible person. Oh, absolutely, yeah. I think she's truly paid that. But again, there's a TCM, Turner Classic Movies, are actually doing a podcast season on her entire career this year, the next season. I think, I'm not sure. I think that might be in the autumn. I think. Or fall for anybody in America.
You need to nudge Jack in that direction.
Maybe. I think he'd like it. I think he would really dig it. And then she was at the film festival recently, and they showed her film, and she was interviewed. It's on YouTube as well. You can find it. But yes. Anyway, back to Foxy Brown. So
we're also celebrating.
Yes, we are celebrating Pam. But yes, Foxy Brown, any more things you want to say about it? Any other thoughts, feelings, scenes, characters?
How about the performance of Catherine? It's so interesting.
He is the original Parker Posey, right?
Wow.
Such Parker Posey vibes.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, I can definitely see that.
And I love Parker Posey. I'm saying that in a very complimentary way to Parker Posey.
Loving way. Very loving.
I could also watch her in anything, just having an absolute ball, which I feel is her entire
acting. Big Bad was a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I really like that. And I love
so clear she had the power in all of her relationships.
Yes, and they reveal her as well, don't they? Like the men are talking, and it's revealed that she's in charge. I really like that.
I thought it was a good. I think it was a good change to make. Obviously, I think Coffy was saying something very obvious about, you know, men and the evil that men do. But I did like the kind of rivalry and the complete like opposite ends of the spectrum that both of those characters were on. Like she's very, Catherine's very like, neat and polished and slight, and and she's all neurotic
on the inside.
She's jealous and insecure because her boyfriend keeps looking elsewhere. And looking at Pam directly, he was like, and he's like, well, yeah.
He was an idiot. Like, dude, she's right there.
I know. He's so...
I'm just going to get up and walk over here and stare all the way up.
He wasn't even doing a good job of like pretending not to look at her. He was like, oh yeah.
Try to be subtle a little bit,
I'm not possibly interested.
Catherine, do you research?
Broken looking at her,
Oh dear.
Just Catherine does no research on any of the women she gets in for her modelling agency, in quotation marks. So just do a quick, you clearly can do background checks. You've got loads of power. Just have a quick look at these women that you're hiring.
Right. How did you find out about my business? She just walks in doing everything. Or is she looking at her going, I can make a lot of money off of
No, that's probably true.
I did quite enjoy the scene where, again, I don't know if it helps her character much, but I think Ria was talking about the kind of sisterhood thing earlier on as well. And with the other character, she becomes the call girl. So she goes undercover, she becomes a call girl, and she's helping the other female character. I can't remember her name. Do we remember her name?
I don't remember her name.
I can't remember her name. No, terrible.
No. Okay. But yeah, they gonna go as a pair, and they've got these, because they're all like high ranking kind of. It's a judge, isn't it? That's it. They're going for a judge because.
We need to talk about that scene.
Yeah. You've got opinions, Ria. You run with it. Go.
That scene when they are with the judge and they are, little tiny, I can't see it. I can't see your little tiny penis. So good. I was genuinely laughing out loud. I was just like, this is just
playing a game. No, baby.
No, and I couldn't believe that it was just in a film. Just that these two women were just openly mocking a man in power about his penis, and he sort of is going along with it to start with. He's like, like exactly like you said to him, like, it's a game, is it funny, ha ha? And it's like, no, they're literally talking about how pathetic you are as a human being and as your penis. I was like, this is brilliant, we need more of this.
More humiliation. But yeah, no, I love that scene because I just think I love how he's like smiling. He's like, oh yeah. and then all of a sudden he's like, oh, all right, okay, right. This isn't fun. Why me?
It's like he genuinely has no concept of anyone ever being mean to him. Like, he just cannot fathom. They can't mean this. I'm a judge. Everyone kowtows to me. Please, teeny tiny, sir. We don't want any of it. And we can't find it even if we did.
And I mean, that was kind of probably the most risky part of her plan, if you could call it a plan. I guess.
Was just like, why are you doing this? It's amazing, but you're totally going to get yourself in trouble. And she didn't, because she's so badass that just got away with it.
And we have that scene where she's that character has her husband and her son turn up and like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Why are you on the drugs? Why what mother doesn't want to be with her son? And then he gets like knocked out. And then later on, I love that Pam's character, Foxy Brown, has taken her and is like, right, I've talked to your father or your grandfather. You're going to go stay with him. You're going to be safe. You're going to be happy. You're going to get away from this life. And that's what's going to happen.
That wasn't part of her original plan. She could have been like, look, I'm sorry, this is your problem. I have my own stuff I need to handle right now. But she didn't. She's like, I can help her too.
Yeah. She's not all vengeance all of the time, which I like as well. Does she? She doesn't make it though, does she? Sadly, because we have the lesbian bar fight.
Yes.
And which has probably my favorite line is like, I've got a black belt in karate. Hits her with a bar stool. I've got a black belt in bar stools. Loved it. And then obviously they get chased because Antonio Vargas has given away their location, but they've also killed him. So he's now dead. and then Pam gets taken to that horrible shack, that awful,
that
awful
was
shack.
not fun. And that was another reason I preferred the other film, is I did not need this to happen here.
No, I agree. It felt very seedy and sleazy, and
it was so gross.
I don't think she needed to be raped. I think that they'd pulled her down enough by taking her there, giving her drugs, that there did not need to be rape in it. I didn't like that at all.
Part of me feels that he's looked at the original script and he's going, I've got to hit these beats or have similar scenes, but let's flip them. Let's not have this happen. So in Coffy, she has put sugar in the drugs, so she's not affected by the drugs and she can escape. In this, it's like, okay, what if we do that? But she actually gets that, and she actually is physically assaulted, which is going to happen in Coffy. So I don't know if maybe he's like, I've got to shake it over, I've got to change things, because it is even though he does change it, they're still very similar films. But from what I've heard from Jack Hill talk about it, he wanted to make it bigger, more extravagant, more action packed, and I think like Tonya was saying, it is on the screen. You can see that extra money that they pumped into this. Absolutely. But yeah, we have another dismembering or destroying of penis. we can't. I mean, they kind of do release the dongs in this.
Oh, that's exactly what I was about to say. They are releasing the dongs.
Literally.
Quite literally. We talked about it a little before with the hiding of the gun and stuff. And again, it's kind of, there's a lot more of that social message through this as well, with like Ria was saying, like that Black Panther like group. I think it was like the enders of the new slavery or something, I think they called themselves. It wasn't strictly the Black Panthers or anything, but they were a group that were trying to kind of stop the drugs and drug dealers in the area. I like that idea. I like that message. And she teams up. But yeah, I think we have said it takes a little way from her agency as a character. But it was quite an interesting
Strong women can ask for help. Asking for help is strength in itself.
Sure, yeah.
I didn't have a problem that she asked for help. I just preferred when she didn't need it.
Yeah, you just want her to be able to kick everybody's ass. Fair enough.
But that scene as well, like when they all like jump on the guy, and she's like, yeah, just take his dick off. Just take, like, there's no remorse.
That's power right there. Too.
Yeah.
He just had all of these men remove penis.
Do it, And they're like, oh God, why are we doing this? Oh.
I feel like they weren't. I feel like they were like, Foxy's asked us to do it. We're doing it. It's the reason her brother calls her. That situation could easily be her brother is not a drug dealer. He is just a black man who happens to be in the street, and two white people come along and feel threatening. He feels like he's going to get in trouble. So he calls someone to say, I need you to get me out of this situation. In another film about black people, it'd probably be a guy who comes and saves him, and they drive off and they go, oh God, that white people are racist. But instead he calls his sister, and she comes along and saves him, whether he deserves being saved or not. But she is the powerful person in this film.
You just reminded me of a scene that I could not figure out for the life of me why this was the choice. And I know this is a stupid thing to have bothered me, but tacos and coffee. Everybody eating tacos and drinking coffee at the same time. That's so gross. I just cannot imagine that being a thing anywhere. And now everyone's just doing it, and no one's commenting on how disgusting this combination is.
Delish. You know what? That's what they had. That's what they had on set. They were like, we've got the van here today. It's tacos.
They might have said it was something else in the cup. They didn't have to call it coffee.
Oh.
Or was that the previous movie? Was that like their little callback, like nudge, nudge, coffee?
You know what? Maybe.
Was coffee really a euphemism for the character, and taco is a euphemism for girl power?
Oh yeah, maybe.
You might be onto something.
That's definitely a Tony reach. That's a Tony Farina reach. I think.
Good one.
I like it. Tony, he's awesome.
Yeah, talking. Yeah,
he is. I speaking of that scene, there was a similar one in Coffy which I really liked. The kind of flipping on its head of the kind of the racist tropes, where Coffy's in her car, she's crying, she's in distress. Yeah. and this guy just comes up and starts trying to molest her, and this white guy, and
what
then
the fuck?
Yeah, and what's what's shaking?
But it wasn't because he was white. It was because he was a guy.
Yeah,
That's just,
yeah. Okay.
It's just men.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I said no offense.
It's because he's a rapist. Let's put it that way.
Okay. I'm just saying, in my experience, it's not like one race over another.
No, sure. No, I agree. But it was interesting to see that the black man was a policeman and he was kind of enjoying having the to scare the white guy with his authority and his power, and he was laughing about it, and he was like, "Oh yeah," they were trying to laugh off the situation, even though it's quite a serious one. But then obviously he sends him running, so that was, I thought that was a really interesting and kind of telling scene for the kind of the time at the time, and and since, and obviously the Black Lives Movement as well is still very,
especially
relevant.
way back then, that they're making this statement way back then, and that was nice.
I really thought that was quite a powerful little scene. Again, didn't have to be there. It doesn't necessarily add to the main story, the main plot, but I think for that
but we see a black man as a cop, we see a black woman as a nurse.
Yeah,
that again is an improvement on Foxy Brown. I almost said Jackie Brown. Foxy Brown. Because they don't have any jobs except prostitution and drug dealer. Like, that's just everybody in that world is prostitute, drug dealer, bartender, lesbian. Like, those are the only.
and the black cop is the one who's not on the take.
Yeah.
Right.
How often do we see that it is the other way around? It is, and that is the best thing about these films, and obviously they're Blaxploitation films, so it's in the title, but just seeing films about black people and not white people, and the white people are the shitheads and the black people are well-rounded and complicated and both good and bad and everything in between. So refreshing to watch, isn't it? It was nice to see as a woman. It was nice to see as a person of color. I mean, what you're seeing is, all right, she has the cop friend, so obviously he's going to come in and rescue her. Nope, didn't happen. He was never part of the finale. I love the way they flipped that.
And they're obviously the kind of, like you were saying, the fridging idea. They come into the story, they're established, the relationship's established, and then they're gone. Mm-hmm. And I think, and just carry on. And Foxy Brown does that a lot more swifter than Coffy. But both films are very enjoyable, even though we do have to pick a winner.
Screw the groundwork. Let's just get to it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Get to the good stuff. Where's the good stuff?
I know what you're both choosing.
Not necessarily. We'll see. I never make a decision when I come in, but I think this is a good time for us to compare the films. So let's go for it. So as all the listeners will know, there are 5 categories for comparison. So we have writing, acting, music, cinematography, and direction. And I do have some tiebreakers if it's a close one. So let's start off with the writing. Which film had the better writing? Tonya.
Coffy.
And why? Why are you picking Coffy over Foxy Brown?
For the reasons that we said. She was a more developed character. Her motivations were more fleshed out. They had more backstory for everyone. It wasn't just, let's just do some fun, fast stuff. There is nothing wrong with that. But if we're comparing the two, as a writer, I prefer a complete story.
Ria, what are your thoughts?
Oh, yes. Sorry, I was nodding. It's a podcast. I'm really tired. Absolutely agree. I completely agree that it doesn't matter that I enjoyed Foxy more. The writing in Coffy is much better. And I think there's no real comparison in those terms. I feel like Foxy has some great one-liners, but overall, writing isn't about one-liners.
No, but they are cracking one-liners. They are absolutely cracking. I think Tonya posted one where she was like, "You handle the justice, I'll handle the revenge," which I think is a great tagline for both of these films, really.
Which is exactly why I chose it, because I went through both films just like, oh, I really like this. I love this. But this one covers both films, so let's do that.
It is good. But I have to agree with both of you. I think, again, I was talking about that. Again, I know Tonya is all about the vengeance, all of it. all of the time. But I do like the moral struggle and the morality of that. And, eye for an eye makes the whole world blind, that sort of thing. So, but yeah, I have to agree. Characters more rounded. It's more interesting. There's more conflict. There's more drama. I like the complex emotions with the boyfriend at the end. And yeah, no, I totally agree. So next one will probably be a tougher one. It's acting. So Ria, which film had the better acting?
Foxy, easily for me. I think it's, I don't think she's bad in Coffy. Pam Grier at all. I don't think she's bad in Coffy at all. But I just, as I said at the beginning, I found her absolutely mesmerising in Foxy Brown. I couldn't take my eyes off her. I don't know what happened in between the two films, but there's just, I feel her star power more, and I feel like she gets it more. She doesn't have to do a stupid accent, which I think it helps her acting. And I think just overall, I think, Link, I think he does a great job as well, because we all hate him. I just think sort of, I feel the love between her and Michael, her boyfriend. I feel that between the chemistry between the two of them a lot more than I do in Coffy and her skeezy politician boyfriend as well. So that it's going to be Foxy for me. I don't even know why I'm justifying myself. Should have just said Foxy. Done.
Tonya.
I agree. The acting was better in Foxy. I think that she was allowed to be more immersed in the character. I'm guessing with the lower budget, she probably had to do more of maybe her own makeup, maybe more. Just there's less care for the talent when there's less budget. And when you're able to have a set where you have a dressing room and you can breathe and not have to just have all of this, there's a certain energy when you're on set and you don't ever get to move away into your own space because there's just all this busyness going on. You need to be able to have your own space. And having someone there to take care of your hair and take care of your makeup and your wardrobe, and you not having to be responsible for everything, allows you to focus on your job, which is knowing your character and knowing your lines and being able to give the best performance that you can. It is exhausting when you're expected to deal with all of the stuff and bring all of that to the table. So I think she had the confidence of the success of the last film, which, it's no longer an experiment. We tried this, it worked, people loved it. They gave us more money to do a better job this time. So I think that she was able to take all of that and just give a stronger performance in the second film.
Such an amazing insight.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's, I think in acting, we talk about kind of finding your feet and being comfortable and finding the character's feet. And I just feel like we talked about it on Jack's podcast with Jason Statham. He's finding that confidence as his career is going on. And I think that's back to the filmography of that podcast. Go subscribe, like, share, do all the good stuff that you are probably doing already. I'll leave it in the show notes. But yeah, I totally understand. And you can see that she knows this character. She's lived it. She's breathed it. She is this character. Coffy, I think the writing allows her to do more emotional stuff. Like she's crying a lot more. But I like that she's kind of more restrained almost. And it kind of, there's a fire that comes out of her, I think, in Foxy that necessarily doesn't come out in Coffy. But then in Coffy, she does have that vulnerability, which I like as well. But no, I think I have to agree with you guys. I think it's a solid performance. And I think, yeah, you can see the kind of, not training wheels, but you can see there's something not fully there for her. But in Foxy, wham, bam, thank you, man. She delivers. Absolutely. Next up is music. So you've got Ron Ayers on Coffy, and you've got Willie Hutch on Foxy Brown. So two very big kind of Motown talents, and I think Ron Ayers was like the neo funk godfather or something. I have no idea, but what did we think of the music? I'll go with Tonya.
I think I already said I preferred the Coffy music, and I can't really say why. I don't remember any particular song. But after watching it, I remember that it's something that I thought about, where I can't recall any of the music from Foxy. None of it stands out.
I do remember the ooh. of the start of Foxy, the Foxy Brown track. Foxy. I do like the Foxy Brown track, though. I think that is quite funky. But then, but how can we beat King George, Ria, as a song?
I did not like King George. And it went on forever. So are they ever going to stop just huskily saying King George, King George? I'm going Foxy Brown, but I couldn't tell you why. I can't tell you why, but I much preferred it. I think because of I'm not going to do the beautiful rendition you just did, Dan. I think it's solely because of that track. And no real. I mean, both soundtracks are great. To be fair, I really remember watching them, going, "I'm loving these soundtracks." But I think it's the Foxy song for me.
It's down to me, I guess. I'm gonna agree. Am I going to create an enemy here? Or
No.
You'll get your revenge one way or another, I'm sure. I'm gonna agree with Ria, and I'm gonna go Coffy. I just think
I went Foxy.
Oh, sorry, sorry, my mistake. Foxy.
I like how he tried to answer.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the middle ground, not to piss anybody off. But yeah, I'm going to go with Ria and
People
Foxy.
Actually get pissed off at you for not agreeing with them on your side.
No, not really.
I mean, you don't have them back on, so you don't know.
Yeah. Why would I have returning people? Get them new people, new talent, new things. No, I have new people on. I have returning guests. You're here.
I meant more that you've disagreed, so you wouldn't have them on.
No,
you've gone. Oh, you don't agree with me.
Strongly about my answer, so it's not even like
same here.
I really love this as opposed to this. Like they were both.
They're fine.
Yeah.
Fine. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Foxy Brown, just because I think it was a bit more funky, it was a bit more upbeat, it was a bit more fun. Even though I think the Coffy soundtrack is also excellent. So that is one for Coffy. And
if I'm remembering correctly, there was this one song on Foxy that just sounded like a total rip off of Earth, Wind and Fire. It was just discount Earth, Wind and Fire, and it just bothered me because it's like, oh, come on, you could have actually gotten Earth, Wind and Fire. What is this?
I mean, probably, who knows? But yeah, so that's two categories for Foxy and one for Coffy. So cinematography is next. What do we think, Ria?
So I'm going to go for Coffy only because of that end scene on the beach and her coming out of the house. It stayed with me. I really liked it. It felt very cathartic after the whole film. The film is dark and quite traumatic, and I felt it's really a really beautiful shot. You can tell I'm flagging because I'm like, it looked pretty.
We're almost there. Come on. Tonya, what do you think?
I think it's funny because I choose Foxy for this one.
Hey,
because I think it's cleaner. You could just the equipment was nicer, the editing was cleaner. They just had more money to do what they needed to do. It could be the same cinematographer for all I know. I did not look into it, but
don't believe it was.
Looks better.
You're right. I do think it does overall look better. You're completely right, and it's one of the reasons I enjoyed it more. But pretty beach, super pretty.
I did like the use of shadow in Coffy. I think they used shadow very well, and I like the swimming pool scene, the way that's lit, and he's floating and stuff. And that when that police car catches fire was great. It's more really effects than anything, though. But
it's still fun.
Yeah, I will say Foxy kind of looks a bit like every other blaxploitation film. I will say that, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. And Coffy did have a bit more character. Oh, where do I go with this?
I think you should go with Foxy. I do think Foxy is actually better. I think Tonya's right.
Okay.
Sorry, you don't have to go with what I said. But I think she's right. I mean, I'm happy to change my answer as well, to be fair.
Yeah.
I think she's right.
Yeah.
I like that we swapped.
Yeah, completely.
It makes for a more interesting conversation when we're not just like this one, all the way down the board. We don't vote party here, okay?
Everybody
All
wins.
the issues.
Let's be honest. Everybody wins in this scenario.
That's right.
We all win. Jack Hill wins. Pam Grier wins. So it doesn't really matter.
Right.
But I'm going to go with Coffy because I just think it's a bit more interestingly shot. I think there's a lot of kind of just, this is a location in Foxy. This is a location, big wide shot. I think there's a bit more to it. I like that opening scene where she's in shadow. The guy's head gets blown off. I thought there was something really interesting about that. And again, the end scene as well. So I'm going to go Coffy with that one. I'm going to go Coffy. Right. So final category. So this is it. This is the decider. Who, if we can decide, that is, direction. So Jack Hill's direction. Which film did it better? Did he do it better in? Tonya.
Well, I have to think about this. I don't have a quick answer. I think I'm going to go with Coffy because I think he's more responsible for the success of the film because he had fewer resources. And I think he made her a star with that film. So much like Coffy had to carry the entire film and do everything on her own shoulders, he kind of had to do that for this first film before he had all this studio backing and money and assistance. He wouldn't have even had that movie if it weren't for the success of Coffy. So I'm going to go with Coffy.
Okay. Ria?
It's a difficult one. I think you're not wrong. I think he does some more interesting visual things in Coffy, even though maybe Foxy is a bit more accomplished in terms of how it looks. I don't know my answer to this one. Because I did immediately think Foxy Brown, because obviously that's the one overall I had more fun with. I watched twice. But there is something about Coffy, and I don't know what it is. I don't have the words right now.
Je ne sais quoi.
I don't know. Oh gosh, I was like, I don't really care what I choose before this, and now I'm like, I'm taking it very seriously. I'm just going to be contrarian to Tonya and say Foxy for no particular reason, just to make it fun for you, Dan. That's literally it. I think they're both really strong in terms of direction for different reasons. So I'm going to make you decide, Dan.
Again, tough decisions. I'm the tiebreaker really in this particular one.
We couldn't agree on anything.
I do completely agree with you, but because I'm just like, for this one, I genuinely don't know. I actually think this is the first Clone Wars I've done with three people as well, because it's usually quite a binary thing. So I think this has been interesting because it's kind of varied up a little bit. So I changed my mind. I do think Coffy. I think he has to do something more interesting in it. And like you were talking about the swimming pool shot, Dan, there are some special shots in Coffy, and even though I enjoyed Foxy more, I think, and it, like I've talked about all the other things, I'm just repeating myself now. I'm changing my mind. I'm going Coffy.
Well, I was going to say Coffy as well. That's lucky, isn't it? No, I agree. I think Tonya put it beautifully. I'll be honest. I think there was an artistic vision behind this one. I don't think there was. I think because he was very last minute for Jack Hill to be brought on board. It was a very last minute thing. So he's like, right, got a script, let's go. It's, don't call a Coffy, call a Foxy Brown. All right, anyway, off we go. And
it seems like fewer of the successes in Foxy were because of his direction. The things that we liked more in that, I don't think were because of his direction. I think
you're 100% right.
And Coffy led to us even having this second film, and he had to probably do a lot more than most just to get the film made. I'm sure he had to do a lot.
Absolutely.
The fact that he was willing to put his name on the line to say, I'm going to back a woman and I'm going to back Black people and make it their story and use my privilege to get this to happen. It's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And I think, and that's why, Tarantino says that Jack Hill is the best American filmmaker ever, like the most important. And I think it's for films like this that he says that. Tarantino loves everybody anyway, but as I've said before,
he appreciates the creativity and the challenges that go behind making these films. And it's not just, I'm only going to like this kind of film. No. There's beauty in all different types of storytelling.
So Coffy is the winner. What I will say is if people are easily offended by exploitation films, it's probably not for you. But I will say there is a lot of kind of slurs thrown around and things. So go in bearing that in mind if you are easily offended. Luckily, my guests today have not been easily offended, and they have spoken beautifully about Pam and her work. It's been fantastic. What a wonderful discussion this has been. And it's everything I wanted it to be. So thank you guys so much. You are both, again, very talented in the world of podcasting and elsewhere as well in your lives. Why don't you tell people where they can find you on the social medias? We'll go with Tonya.
Before I say where you can find me, I do want to say thank you for not just inviting me onto your show, but talking about Pam Grier. It's not something that I don't think she's celebrated enough. And I'm glad that you're pointing out that there's going to be a whole series showcasing her films. I didn't even know about that.
I've got another as well. I've got another. Her story has been, her autobiography has been optioned by Disney.
By Disney?
By Disney.
I wish everybody could see that face. That was the most amazing thing ever.
I might just keep that just for the clip.
If you can screenshot that for me and send it to me, because I want to make that into a meme. Please, I need that. That was so amazing.
Yep. So Disney are going to make that film, and I imagine the actress is going to have to bear all as well. I imagine in that case.
Good luck finding someone who can fill those boots.
Absolutely. But yeah, I'm so glad that I can put, and this is what my podcast is about, is having a spotlight on these films, no matter where they come from, what they're about, who's made them, just saying cinema's great. Check this stuff out. If you like it, you like it. If not, it's not for you. My podcast is very varied. I do try to diversify, and I have different voices on, have you guys on, and various other people from all walks of life. And I really do enjoy it. And I think this one has been really worthwhile. And it's been in my idea bank, let's call it, for some time. I was like, I've got to find the right people for this. Like, I've got to find the absolute best group of people to talk about this thing, and to talk about it as sensitively as we've talked about it, but still have a lot of fun with it as well. And I think we've done that. So I do appreciate you saying that. Thank you very much, Tonya.
Well, I love the transcontinental tag team of Ria and Tonya. It's been unintentional from the beginning, but man, we clicked the first time.
I know, it was amazing.
We ended up being guests on people's shows at the same time. Like, we were both invited separately, but it's like, all right, Ria's there, I am there. I will do any show with you.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I'm going to try and force you to do all of the Ms. Marvels. I know you're incredibly busy, but if you're free, just pop on.
I have them all on my calendar, and I am attempting to be present for everyone.
Yeah.
But you know how things happen.
Yes, exactly. And we're flexible. We understand that about each other. That's fine.
Absolutely.
Life gets in the
We
way.
will stop delaying.
Yes, sorry. I really have to go to bed.
We were really concerned about like Tonya having things to do and getting on with her life. And now we're actually more concerned about Ria not falling asleep on us.
If you want to know,
I'm in the dark again as well.
Things that I'm doing that keep me from being a podcast guest, you can follow me across social media at Ms. Tonya Todd, my website, MsTonyaTodd.com. If you care about any of the films that I'm doing or I'm going to do, you can follow me on IMDb, just Tonya Todd. And thank you again for having me, Dan.
My pleasure. Ria, I know you're so good at this bit, and especially because you're so tired, I imagine this will be amazing. So
go really well.
Off you go.
Everybody follow Tonya, because she is amazing, and she posts great content. So not only does she do all of like the amazing stuff in her own life, but also she has time to post amazing content on social media. And I just don't know how you do it. Do you sleep? No, you don't, because you are a vampire cat, so you don't. Talking about me, find me at Ria Carrogan on Twitter and Instagram. It'll be in the show notes. You know how to spell it by now. Or at Fem on Film and Comics in Motion, Pop Grillers, although I've not done that for about a million years because my life is hectic. Fem on Film, we're turning on Indie Comic Spotlight, which is just the most fun ever. I think that's me.
Yeah, I'm not going to put any of that in the show notes, so don't worry.
Just do any random spelling of the name Ria and Carrogan. You'll find one somewhere.
Of course, you will. You know what? I've completely fucking forgot. Had a shit ton of listener comments.
Oh no.
I've totally forgot. Oh, sorry, guys. We've run out of time. Thank you though for all the
Put them on Twitter.
There has to be one.
Yes, do one.
Okay, I'll do one. Who
And then
do you
the
want?
best
Who do you
on
want?
Twitter.
Who do you want? Who do you want? I've got
Who are the options?
We've got I Am Jack's Musings, Max Byrne, Paul Meller, John Hammond, or Mike of Genuine Chit Chat. I'll let you decide.
I don't want to choose the person. I want to choose the question.
Oh yes.
So it was just to say, it was basically, I asked, what are your thoughts on Blaxploitation? And basically, what are your thoughts of Pam Grier and her career was basically what I asked. And they've all kind of responded in their own way. I mean, pick who you want me to talk about, and I'll just see what they've said.
Why should we pick the person? I want to know what's the most interesting one.
Let's have a look. Let me have a quick look.
Great podcast content.
Okay. Yeah, this is getting cut. You know what, I'll go with John Hammond because he's a good lad and I like him a lot, and he's a big fan of the VHS Strikes Back and all the Comics in Motion guys. And he said the most about Pam. A lot of people have just said, I've not really seen a lot of the work. I've seen her in Jackie Brown. Jackie Brown is excellent. That's the kind of general consensus.
That's fair.
Yeah, and that's true, and we appreciate that.
Like, I don't want to pick someone out of my personal bias because someone could have a really awesome question and I didn't.
True. So it's again not a question, but it's a statement just about Pam and the kind of Blaxploitation films and stuff she's made. So John Hammond, so that's at John Hammond 73. From her start in exploitation movies such as The Big Dollhouse and Black Mama, White Mama, to the brilliant Jackie Brown and Ghosts of Mars, she's had a very varied career while not hitting the heights of some of her counterparts. Shame, as she is a great actor.
That's a perfect ending.
I think so too.
I do want to add something to the ending. Go and listen to I Am Jack's Musings, Back to Filmography, Ghost of Mars episode that has Pam Grier in it because it is very funny.
Yes, they weren't that flattering to Pam in that podcast.
No, but they're not flattering about the whole film.
True,
it is very funny. And, let's do some nice cross-promotion. It is, because I just finished listening to it whilst folding laundry because my life is thrilling. Yeah.
One of the comments was from Max, who said her performance in Ghosts of Mars was a tour de force, and then Jax went, "There's recorded evidence that says otherwise, good sir." But yes, and there's some other great comments, but we've gone on far too long as it is.
Sorry.
Ria is.
What I think you're saying is people need to follow you on social media so that they can read these comments. Why don't you tell us where they can do that?
Absolutely.
She is the professional.
See, she's better than
the room.
She's better than all of us. She's the Pam Grier of this podcast.
She is.
Tonya Todd is the Pam Grier of podcasts. I've said it, quote it, use it. Put it on your book, Tonya. That's what I've said.
I'm going to put it on my website.
Quote, Spider Dan and the Secret Boars. So you can find me on Twitter. So it's at Dan_Boars. Facebook, it's at Secret Boars. Instagram, it's Spider Dan Secret Boars. Review, like, share, subscribe, comment, etc. Don't forget to use the hashtag Prepare for Prattle when you interact with us. I say us, but it's just me and my guests. I do all the work. It's okay. Dennis likes to think he does something, but he doesn't do anything. Anyway, if you want to join the Prattalion and be briefed in full on the Secret Balls, swing over to spiderdanandsecretballs.com. That's Prattle World, as we like to call it. And I'd like to thank my patrons on Patreon. I Am Jack's Musings, Paul Meller, Max Byrne, Scott Hodgson, Simon Cotter, Mike Burton, Angry Andy Reviews for their continuing donations. It is very much appreciated and helps Prattle World keep on turning. And if you ever find yourself in a position to help the podcast, please consider it. And these guys will be getting this nice and early because they are my patrons. And I bet they are looking forward to it because I've been posting all about it all of the time. But I was so excited for this and you guys didn't let me down. Amazing. Thank you so much for doing this and giving me the opportunity to have such great guests and great content. Bye, guys. I guess we should say bye.
Bye. I wanted to be like, oh, thank you. It's been so amazing. Thank you for having us on. And then I thought,
you fall asleep.
Yeah, and then you ended it so nicely. And then I was just like, I'm just going to shut my laptop and go.
Yeah. I'll keep this all in now. Goodbye.